The Leafs, our other boys in blue, were at home to start their new campaign.
On a break, Matthew dies, and Montembeault makes the stop. In front, Riley scores!
Yeah, Riley wide open there, breaking open the time midway through the third period, giving the Leafs a 3-2 lead. That was all they needed. But however, they did score a couple of empty netters to win the season opener 5-2. So for more on last night's hockey game, I wouldn't say last night's game, but hockey game, John Viveiros, host of the Hot Take Hockey podcast, is joining us. John, typically when I do these conversations, I've watched at least some of the game, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't change the channel last night. I was watching the Jays. Yeah. I know it was 5-2. Tell us more about how the Leafs looked in the opening night last night.
No, I respect that, Nick. And I think a lot of Leaf fans, Jays fans, Toronto sports fans were conflicted last night. I think that's fair. And I do want to congratulate the Jays for moving on. And I loved Phil's on-site coverage, so that was great. And even for the Leafs in Scotiabank Arena, they tied in the Jays into the night. So the Blue Jays game was playing on the Jumbotron, which was awesome. But I think for the Leafs, it was a good start. I think there's pros and cons. I think Craig Berube said it post-game himself. So just to kind of give you guys the snippet of the game, I think you look at the fourth line was actually probably the best line from start to finish. Nick Waugh, Steve Lorentz, and Calle Jarnkrok, who was injured for most of last year, he got the opening goal. And then you look at Morgan Rielly. I think a lot of Leaf fans have had that criticism on Morgan Rielly, and he looked like his 2017, 2018 self last night. And I think that was big. He had a couple points, a goal and an assist, of course, the game-winning goal that was shown on screen there. So I think for Morgan Rielly, if he can be that number one defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've really needed that quarterback. I think that's going to be huge for the season. I think guys like Matthews and Nylander were really getting their feet wet. So overall, there was some negatives, some positives, but you come away with the victory.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see. And, you know, what a coincidence. 5-2. Jays also beat the Yankees 5-2. That's got to be an omen if you're superstitious. Of course, Leafs were without Mitch Marner. Did you notice? I mean, it's still so early. We have so much more hockey to play. But did you notice anything different in the dynamic on the ice yesterday without him?
Yeah, there was a couple things. I mean, the obvious one is the penalty kill, right? So, like, I think Mitch Marner has been kind of the focal point of the penalty kill. I know he's obviously a massive point producer, a guy that can put up 90-plus points, but really the penalty kill was Mitch Marner's kind of spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was always on that number one penalty kill. If the Leafs go to the disadvantage, then Marner's out there. So it was mostly guys like Dakota Joshua and Nick Waugh, the new additions, and ironically Nick Waugh, who they got from Vegas in that kind of creative trade, I guess you can call it, because Marner was obviously on an expiring deal, and the Leafs got something out of it. And Nick Waugh, who's big, 6'4", already showing some size and that kind of two-way ability for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was one thing I noticed. The other part of it was kind of, again, I think Austin Matthews can great goal scoring for himself, but it's really going to take some time to develop chemistry with Matias Maccelli or Max Domi consistently. Again, I know he's had some experience with Domi on his line, but he's had so much 5-on-5 time and power play time with Mitch Marner, and you saw it last night. The power play really struggled. So the power play has been a work in progress again. I think that chemistry as well. So overall, Marner had his hands in so much of this Toronto Maple Leafs team. So it's going to take some time in that top six, but I think they're going to figure it out.
Hey, John, I'm curious, was this kind of a dud of an opener for the Habs, considering, you know, all the prospects they have, this young team that a lot of people are looking at saying, hey, they're playing some good hockey, had a good preseason. Did they just come out flat? What happened with the Habs?
Yeah, you know what? It was interesting. I think a couple of the new guys, like a Noah Dobson, was really trying to get his feet wet. I think similar to what I just said about Toronto, it was kind of that power play, that conversation of what they're trying to figure out chemistry-wise. I think the new, obviously, flashy rookie, Ivan Demidov, needs to be probably more involved with this team. I didn't really actually notice him much out there last night. I think Habs fans I've seen online were pretty disappointed that he wasn't more involved with the power play, and just overall, because looking at that power play, it was mostly Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, and Lane Hudson with the puck. I thought Lane Hudson made some mistakes, and he's obviously that promising young defenseman trying to get a new contract extension already with Montreal. So I do think it's a younger team. It's a team that's trying to figure it out, gel together even more so than the Toronto Maple Leafs. I also think the creative part for Martin St. Louis, the head coach for Montreal, is you've got your top line, Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky. After that, if you look at those next three lines, it's kind of like three different second lines or three different third lines. They really have a balance out there, so it's really trying to figure out that ice time, and I saw that as a struggle last night. Patrick Laine, former second overall pick after Austin Matthews in 2016, is listed on the fourth line right now. So they're really trying to figure things out and get creative with the ice time. But I think that's going to take some time for Montreal as well.
Yeah.
Okay, still some growing pains to work through. That is John Viveiros, host of the Hot Take Hockey podcast. Thanks so much for your time and analysis, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.